Hi everybody, wonderful good evening. So, as you have enjoyed that first part, Dear Departed One, as it has another part, let us see the other part, Dear Departed Two. So, before the end of the first part, actually the scene was that old man, Mr. Abel Merriweather, he came downstairs having a chuckle on his face. So they thought, they were shocked, they were transfixed, became motionless because they couldn't believe it, and moreover they didn't know how to react. And the Jordans, which were not supposed to be there, living there at working places, they were there with the Slatters. That smart old man could very well guess what they might have thought. So they didn't know how to conduct themselves also. After that, it was Mr. Abel Merriweather, the old man. What is the matter with little Vicky? Victoria Slatter, his granddaughter, as she was a bit frightened, seemed to be, he asked what the matter with that granddaughter Victoria Slatter was. He sees Ben and Mrs. Jordan. Hello, what brings you here? How is yourself, Ben? Seeing the Jordans, he asked how they were there, and naturally inquired about the welfare of his son-in-law, Mr. Ben Jordan. Abel thrust his hand at Ben. He wanted to shake the hands of Mr. Jordan, but he took his hands back. Who? Mr. Jordan. But Mr. Jordan retreats with Mrs. Jordan, his wife, to a safe distance below the sofa, because still they were suspecting he might not be a man in flesh and blood. Approaching Abel gingerly. Gingerly means very carefully. Father, is that you? Daddy, nuvena. So that was Mrs. Slatter. She pokes him with her hand to see if he is solid. She wanted to test him with her finger whether he was solid. It does mean that man in flesh and blood or not. Of course, it's me. Don't do that, Emilia. What the devil do you mean by this tomfoolery? What do you mean by doing all this foolish action? Tomfoolery. It is a foreign writer's lesson. So, a bit strange phrases and idioms and phrases we can find this. Okay. What the devil do you mean by this tomfoolery? So, what the devil do you mean by doing this tomfoolery? Poking at me and asking me whether I am alright or not, or whether I am solid or not, to check. Why? You took us by surprise, Daddy. Are you keeping quite well, Daddy? Are you okay? Trying to catch the words, because he didn't expect that question, or he was pretending as if he was not expecting that question, or he didn't understand that question. So, catching up with the words. What? Are you quite well? Yeah, I am right enough, but for a bit of a headache. I am okay, but for a bit of a headache. It means I had a small problem, that is a bit of a headache. Looking at Emilia. Emilia, what the dickens did I do with my new slippers? If you remember that first part, Mr. Henry Slatter, okay, he was asked to wear that new pair of slippers of Mr. Abel Merriweather. Seeing those slippers, okay, on the feet of Mr. Henry Slatter, cleverly this old man asked his daughter, okay, what happened to my slippers? Confused. Aren't they by the hearth, Father? Aren't they there by the hearth, Father? So I don't see them. Observing Henry trying to remove the slippers. Henry Slatter was seen removing the slippers of his by Mr. Abel Merriweather. Why you have got them on, Henry? Why have you got them on, my slippers, my dear Henry Slatter? Mrs. Slatter promptly. It was she to correct the handle the situation. So many occasions she came forward to rescue the situation. The first occasion, I told him to put them on to stretch them. Daddy, it is me who told him to put those slippers on because they would stretch. As they were new, they were a bit tight. So I asked him only to wear them so that they would stretch. Henry, please, what do you mean please? Please remove them. They were that new and hard. No, Henry. Mrs. Slater snatches the slippers from Henry and gives them to her father, Mr. Abel Merriweather, who puts them on and sits in the armchair. Mrs. Jordan to her husband, Mr. Ben Jordan, well, I don't call that delicate, wearing the dead man's slippers, dead man's shoes in such a haste. Victoria runs across to Abel and sits on the floor at his feet. So this is a precocious, wonderful girl. She understood slowly, she realized what might have happened. So she came to her grandfather and sat at his feet, who was sitting in that armchair. Innocently, that Victoria Slater, the granddaughter, made a comment. What is that? Oh, Grandpa, I am so glad you are not dead. I am so glad you are not dead. So, in a vindictive whisper, Mrs. Slater, hold your tongue, Victoria. Mother. Okay, second occasion. Okay, covering the situation. Victoria, shut up. In a vindictive whisper, it means that she wanted to silence her daughter, Victoria. Oh, what is that? Who has gone dead? By the time this old man got what she spoke, that Victoria Slater. So he asked, okay, so who is gone dead? Loudly. Victoria says she is sorry about your head. Daddy, as you complained about a bit of a headache, now she is inquiring about your health. Okay, it is not dead, it is head. So clever. Who? Mrs. Amelia Slater was. Loudly. Victoria says she is sorry about your head. Oh, that way. Thank you, Vicky, but I am feeling better. Thank you, my dear child, Victoria. So I am now okay. All right. Why, Ben, you are in mourning, and Lizzie too, that is Elizabeth, and Emilia and Henry and little Vicky, as if he was seeing them then only in black. She asked them why all they were in black, including Victoria Slater. So certainly, seeing them in black, or they would be in black only if somebody in the family is dead. He wanted to know who he was. There is someone in the family. He chuckles, grins, laugh, smile. They are the different words for various smiles. No one you know, father, a relation of Ben's. Daddy, you don't know him. Who died? Okay, it is a relation of Ben Jordan. Ben Jordan means the second son-in-law, okay, who was staying a bit away, thinking that this old man would leave the matter then and there. But this smart old man didn't leave the matter there and further inquired. Okay, so what relation of Ben's? Naturally, once you are in the ditch, stop digging. Already she was in the ditch, so trying to cover the situation, she continuously digging the ditch. Oh, his brother. To Mrs. Slater, damn it, I never had one. This innocent chap, this jolly person, Ben Jordan, okay, he said, no, I had no brother. Okay. Dear, okay. So, and what was his name, Ben? So, he didn't want to take the situation distracted, okay. Who? Mr. Abel Merriweather. That's why he asked, okay, fine, keep quiet. Just I want to know who that person who died. So, at a loss means he was, it means he didn't know, okay, so what to give, what name to give, that is a loss for words. He crosses to front of the table, right side of table, prompting Frederick. So, she was prompting Mrs. Slater, third occasion, okay, so she prompted means only whom we wanted to hear, that person only could hear the words. In that way, if we pass the words and all by uttering so slowly, more than whispering, so that the person whom we wanted to hear, that person could hear. That is known as prompting. Who prompted? Mrs. Amelia Slater. She prompted Frederick. And one more, Mrs. Jordan, Albert. In that confusion, he said, Ben Jordan, Fred, Isaac. So one more name he added. So no doubt this old man understood. So Isaac, and where did your brother Isaac die? So okay, Isaac, fine. Okay, it is not Albert, it is not Frederick. Let us say he is Isaac. So where he had died, he wanted to know. Australia. Well, I suppose you have only been waiting for me to begin tea. I am feeling hungry. Okay. To lighten the situation, this old man, seeing the kettle on the stove, okay, so he said that, okay, maybe all they were waiting for him to have tea. Let us have tea. Taking up the kettle, I'll make tea. Come along now, sit you down and let us be jolly. Okay. Abel sits at the head of the table facing spectators. The picture is there. Abel, suddenly recollecting, Amelia and Henry, what the devil did you mean by shifting my bureau out of my bedroom? What the devil did you mean by shifting my bureau, which was supposed to be upstairs? How it came downstairs? Of course, it was a new thing for Elizabeth Jordan and the Jordan. About bureau. Henry and Mrs. Slater are speechless. Do you hear me, Henry, Amelia? What bureau was that, father? Of course, maybe cleverly or maybe ignorantly, Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan asked what bureau he was talking about. Abel, why, my bureau, to the one I bought. Mrs. Jordan, pointing to the bureau. Was it the one, father? Pointing at the bureau, she asked whether he was talking about the same bureau. Oh, that's it. What's doing it here? Huh? He passed. The clock on the mantelpiece strikes 6. Everyone looks at it. Unfortunately, sadly, that beautiful, handsome clock, okay, which Amelia Slater brought downstairs from upstairs, that beautiful clock also struck 6. Maybe the clock was designed in such a way that for every half an hour or every 1 hour, it would strike once. Now it is 6 o'clock. Okay, to attract the attention continuously, it struck 6 times, at least, if not once, second or third time and fourth time. Everybody's attention was drawn to that handsome clock. So that means if that is not my clock too, okay, so it means I am surprised, okay, so I would be shocked if that was not my clock. What the devil, okay, it has been going on in this house, okay, I don't know what is going on, okay, what the devil that has been going on in this house. Mr. Abel Merriweather. A slight pause. Well, I'll be hanged. Now, Ben Jordan, this jolly chap, okay, so slowly, okay, so understood, okay, so where they went wrong and all, okay, so he felt, okay, so he would be hanged. It does mean that, no doubt, okay, so his authoritative father-in-law now would put his head down, he thought, okay. Rising, I'll tell you what has been going on in this house, father. Nothing short of a robbery. So it was the smart sister, Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan. She came over, Daddy, I'll tell you what has been going on in this house. It is nothing short of swindling, okay, cheating, robbery. Be quiet, Elizabeth, please. Be quiet, Elizabeth. Elizabeth, please quiet. Already, and the situation is very grim. Okay, this time you are supplying, okay, saying all this. Please, sister Elizabeth, keep quiet, please. Okay, I won't be quiet. I won't be quiet. Why should I? Why should I be quiet? Okay, or I call it double-faced. Double-faced. What do you mean by that? Okay, so another. Okay, so wearing a mask, not physical mask, and one more mask inside. Actually, what she is showing to the society is different, and what actually she is. That is double-faced. Almost all in the society. Okay, we come across more than 99.99% of the people, okay, so including us, okay, we are double-faced. No, Elizabeth, please, Elizabeth, okay, so don't take the situation to a serious level, okay, he requested. Henry Slater, and you too, okay, who is speaking? Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan. She is speaking to Henry Slater, Bavagaru, maybe Maridi garu. And you too, are you such a poor creature that you must do every dirty thing she tells you? Okay, she is like that because I know about my sister. What happened to you? Okay, how could you do all those dirty things what she asked you to do? Okay, what happened to your individuality? Okay, so she gently was scolding her brother-in-law, who? Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan and Henry Slater. Rising, thumping the table. Damn it! Will someone tell me what has been going on in this house? Okay, leave it. Keep quiet, please. Can someone be there to tell me what has been going on in this house? He asked. Mrs. Jordan, as I will, okay, I will not see you robbed. Yes, daddy, I'll tell you, and I won't see you robbed. Mr. Abel Merriweather, he asked, okay, so robbing me? Who is robbing me? Daddy, I'll tell you. Who is robbing you? Slater, they sneaked into your house like thieves in the night and stole your items, that is slippers and bureau and handsome clock, after you were dead. Hush, quiet, Elizabeth. So I'll not be stopped after you were dead, I say. Daddy? So after you were dead, I say. Okay, wait. After who was dead? Mr. Abel asked. You? Daddy, you? But I'm not dead. You, of course, you are not dead. But they thought you were. You were dead. A pass. Abel gazes round at them. So this is smart old man. Okay, he gazed at them. Okay, at once. Abel Merriweather. Oh, that is the reason you are all in black today. Okay, you all thought I was dead. That's why you are all in black today. Okay, you thought I was dead. He chuckles. Okay, he didn't show any surprise and all. It means he guessed what they might have thought. That's why he chuckled. He didn't express any other emotion like surprise or shock or wonder or why they thought so, like that. So that was a big mistake. What is that? So thinking me that I was dead. That was a big mistake. So he sits and resumes his tea. Sobbing, father. Okay, so Mrs. Slater, sobbing. She was crying, daddy, like that. That is the meaning of sobbing, father. So it didn't take you long to start dividing my things between you. Okay, I were dead, for example. If even then, without finishing the funeral rites and all those things, okay, you simply started dividing the things between you. It didn't take much time to get the things getting divided between you, Emilia. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Since your mother died, I have lived part of the time with you, Emilia, and part of with you, Lizzie. Since your mother died, I have been living part of the time with you, Lizzie, and part of time with you, Emilia. Now, let me tell you what I am going to do. Well, I shall make a new will. Now, let me make a new will. This is the first thing I wanted to do. Sorry. Leaving all my bits of things to whoever I am living with, okay, when I die. Yes, I have decided not to live with you. And let me go to that person who wanted me and with whom I would be living with when I died. To that person, okay, all my bits and things, it means all my property, it would go. In that way, I had to alter the will, he said. So how does that strike you? It means what do you think about that is, how does it strike you? Mrs. Jordan, you know, father, it is quite time you came to live with us again. Daddy, okay. You have some problem with this Emilia Slater and this Slaters. Now it is time, daddy, for you to come to us. It is high time you came to us to live with us. We would make you very comfortable. No, he has not been with us as long as he was with you. Who said it? Mrs. Emilia. No, my dear sister Elizabeth. He has not been with us as long as he was with you. మీతో ఎంతకాలం ఉన్నారో అంతకాలం నాతో లేరు. Still, okay, he has to live with us. Who said it? That is Mrs. Emilia Slater. I may be wrong, but I don't think father will fancy living on with you after what has happened today. Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan. Sorry, my dear sister. I don't think that father would enjoying that idea of staying with you after what has happened today. ఈ రోజు ఏం జరిగిందో జరిగిన తర్వాత ఇంకా నాన్నగారు నీతో ఉంటారని నేనైతే అనుకోవడం లేదు. It seems to me that neither of you had any cause to feel proud about the way you have treated me. It was Mr. Abel Merriweather who said it, that okay, my dear daughters, okay, none of you seemed to be having any pride Okay, so in looking after me. If I have done anything wrong, I am sure I am sorry for it. See the words. What she said. If I have done anything wrong, Mrs. Emilia Slater. Maybe she realized, or maybe she didn't want to acknowledge that she realized. What she says is, if I did something wrong, already what she did was wrong. But what she says is, okay, if I did something wrong, Daddy, I was sorry for it. And I can't say more than that too. Of course, she joined Mrs. Elizabeth Jordan. It's a bit late to say it now, Mr. Abel. Sorry, my dear daughters and sons-in-law. Okay, it's already a bit late to say it now. Okay, so neither of you care to put up with me. Neither of you care to put up with me. Means neither of you wanted me. Neither of you wanted to take care of me. Neither of you wanted to shower that love and affection. This old man, okay, having brought you up to this stage, okay, this old man was not at all wanted to you, none of you, neither to you, Emilia, neither to you, Elizabeth Jordan. She was, Daddy, you cannot say like that now. No, either you have to live with us or with the Jordans. You cannot say that you don't want to live with none of us. They collectively said. Mr. Abel Merriweather, hey, you both say that because of what I have told you about leaving my money. Well, since you don't want me, I'll go to someone that does. Okay. You all say this because what I have just told you about my money and all. That's why you are saying all this. As you don't want me, let me go to the person who does want me, Mr. Abel Merriweather. Ben, come, Mr. Merriweather. You have got to live with one of your daughters. Ben Jordan, he said to his father-in-law, Mr. Abel Merriweather, Mr. Abel, you have to live with one of your daughters. You have got to live with one of your daughters. He said, you have got to live with one of your daughters. To that, this old man said, oh, my dear Jordans and Slaters, okay, let me tell you what I have got to do. I have got to do three things. What those three things he decided to do. Let us see. Abel, I'll tell you what I have got to do. On Monday next, I have got to do three things. I have got to go to the lawyer and alter my will. First, I have got to go to the lawyer to change my will. And I have got to go to the insurance office and pay the premium. I have got to go to the insurance office and I have got to go and pay the insurance premium. And I have got to go to St. Philip's Church and get married. The last sentence shocked them all. So, Mr. Ben and Henry, these sons-in-law, what? On hearing that, so he had got to go to St. Philip's Church and married. So, on hearing that, so these two sons-in-law, they said, what? So, get married? Okay, so Mrs. Jordan, he is out of senses. Mrs. Slater, all four. Okay, so they spoke unwillingly, okay, about their marriage and all. Okay, so after that, Mr. Abel Merriweather, I say, I am going to get married. He was clear in his mind, so he said, I say, I am going to get married. Whether what you think of that marriage, or even for that matter, what you think of me, all those things don't matter. I am going to get married, Mr. Abel Merriweather said. Who to? Who to? Whom are you going to get married? Or whom are you going to get married to? Mr. Abel Merriweather, to Mrs. John Sharrox, who keeps the Ringo Bell restaurant. We have had it fixed. Of course, long back, okay, we thought of our marriage and we have had it fixed, and I only kept it as a secret just to surprise you. A good while now, but I was keeping it for a pleasant surprise. He rises. he was sitting in that armchair, so he rose from that place. I felt I was a bit of a burden to you, my dear daughters and sons-in-law. Okay, I felt, okay, so you feel I am a burden to you. So I found someone who would think it a pleasure to look after me. So I have searched for someone who would think looking after me would be a pleasure to them. So we shall be very glad to see you at the ceremony, that is a marriage ceremony. So he gets to the door. He was leaving the house and he went to the door. Till Monday, then 12 o'clock at St. Philip's Church. Venue, St. Philip's Church. That timing, that is 12 o'clock. Okay, that day is, that is Monday. You are most welcome. You are cordially invited to my marriage with John Sharrock, who is keeping that Ringo bells. Opening the door. As he was leaving the house, just holding the door open, just before leaving the room or house. Okay, what he said to that Emilia Slater sarcastically, "Thank you, Emilia, thank you so much." Okay, being an old man, it would be a bit difficult for me to bring that bureau downstairs. Thank God you have brought the bureau downstairs. From here, okay, I could very well easily carry it to my new place of residence, that is Ringo Bells, where I would share my life with John Sharrock, he said. So it is a good thing that you brought that bureau downstairs, Emilia. It will be handier to carry it across to the Ringo Bells on Monday. It will be handier and easier for me to carry this bureau across to the Ringo Bells, that is restaurant that is owned and kept by John Sharrock. Okay, he goes out. The curtain falls. This is almost all written more than a century earlier, but still, how the middle class mentality and how the human relations, how they were and how they are, there is no much difference. Okay, in recent episodes also, if you see what is going on in America and all, okay, across the world. Okay, Martin Luther King Jr. in 1965. Okay, so we all in our 9th class that his acceptance speech after getting that Nobel Peace Prize, we came to know about the racism recently also. Okay, we all see what is going on around us. This is a satirical drama over middle class mentalities and the human relations. How true it was, so true it is. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye.